Alrighty, so now that we've talked about the deeper part, the darker part, I suppose, of personal involvement in the process of becoming jolly, we need to ask the question, if we become jolly, how do we get to stay here? Nobody wants to go back to be where they're in a sad sack position. Nobody wants to feel the sorrow and the depression. Now, we all do. It happens periodically, even to amazing people like me. That was a joke. That was a joke. The idea here is that we can establish a happiness quotient, a place in our lives where even when things go bad, we can still hold on to our happy disposition. And we're going to go over those, all right? So the first one is you have to develop a personal discipline to act. It was the last point we talked about in the last slide. The idea here is that we need to determine what we are going to do and then do it. Those of you that have been with my show for the last few months, you've seen me generally on a nightly basis to come on air at 11 p.m. I'm a human being. I don't always make it. But the whole point here is that I'm dedicated to the discipline of doing it. Being on air with you is absolutely important to me because I need you to know how you can be as relatively happy as I am. Now, others looking at my life and watching what goes on, perhaps they would not hold to that theory or would not certainly consider me to be an objective or a template by which to live your life. I've got a lot of challenges and such to my existence as well. But you have to develop a personal discipline of action because it's not in the wishing and it's not even in the planning, but it's in the doing. Which means that therefore you need to set and manage reasonable goals for your life. Saying I'm going to be in the air no matter what at 11 o'clock every night is sometimes a difficult one to encompass because different things happen, work schedules change, the hours that I'm available may shift. Generally, I'm setting a reasonable goal of making the attempt every night. I have the equipment, I have the computer, I've got the internet, there's no reason not to. And so therefore I have set and I'm attempting to manage at least the reasonable goal of being on air every night. Whether or not I have viewers or not, that's not what I'm measuring it by. It's do I have the stick-to-itiveness to be here every night? Now, that also means you need to develop healthy perspectives. If I'm creating videos and I'm expecting viewers to watch them, I have to do the work of making it palatable, enjoyable possibly, and hopefully fun to interact. And I don't say it often enough. If you're on Twitch with me and you want to interact, feel free to make a comment in the comment section because I tend to respond to them on air with me as I'm going. And it's not the comment section, I guess it's the chat. But I'm endeavoring to do a better job every night. But I have a healthy perspective, and that is I am but one man, and I am on one little tiny camera, well, 3 cameras, but I'm in one setting, and I don't have a footprint and a huge following to start with. I'm building literally from scratch. And so I know that it will take some time to accomplish. I've heard 3 to 5 years, and although I have been doing videos for 3 to 5 years, I haven't been dedicated to doing the nightly show until the last couple of months. So we'll have to see over time whether or not I'm able to maintain it, but the idea is to have a healthy perspective about it, and that is I'm going to keep making the videos and I'm going to keep sharing because I do believe I have something that is useful and that can help to keep you in the same place and how to make your life into the happy place that I live in, so to speak. The next one is to accept and use help when and as you need it. I have a very good friend that I speak to on a semi-weekly basis who lives in a foreign country, and he's watched my videos and he brought out the fact that doing too much material too quickly may be overloading the audience, and to continue to do a nightly show kind of to him feels like overkill. And while I can respect it, and I do use his help, nonetheless, the only thing that I've changed is I have changed the focus of the material so that it's generally once a week you get a perspective change. And so therefore, I am accepting and using that help. But more importantly, you have to use it when you need it. And sometimes we're not even aware of when we need it because we're so busy blindly walking through life in auto mode. We're not attempting anything new. We're not taking any more risks. We're not listening even to the audience. So it's important that you are able to accept and use the help when and as you need it, because it's important to make the changes to improve. Now, again, how is this part of being happy? Well, accepting what you have and what you need is a truth. If I was defensive and pushed off that information, I'd be literally pushing down on the very place that I should be lifting up, and that is I need more input. Another commercial break. Well, we're back. So the next thing we have to consider is how to develop the benefit of the doubt skills. I mentioned it in the last slide, and the idea here is that we don't know everything. I often say that the people who think they know everything are annoying, particularly to those of us who do. But the reality is that giving others the benefit of the doubt means that I'm not going to assume intent or even what I thought I heard. I'm going to verify and communicate, and I'm going to develop the idea of it's all okay. When somebody says something negative about what's going on with me, I've got to be willing to say maybe they're right, maybe there's something to it, or I need to also at the same time say maybe they're full of S. I don't know. The idea is that I have to develop benefit of the doubt skills, because that way when somebody does say something adverse, it does not drag down my emotional condition. Because happiness, because it's a decision made in advance, we have to therefore be able to hold ourselves up even when what we perceive to possibly be a negative enters our lives, and therefore we need to build up our benefit of the doubt skills. It also means we have to develop our communication skills. Now, it's kind of ironic that a person who is broadcasting on a live stream channel and talking with you directly should be saying this, but we should listen twice as much as we speak, which means In my case, it means that I'm watching videos all the time. I'm looking for what other people are doing, what other people are saying, how they're saying it, the words they use. And by doing so, I'm able to kind of put a stop to the places where I'm making mistakes and bringing in or drawing in the information that'll make me a better communicator. When we listen well, not only does that mean that we're listening intently, but also means we're listening for content. We're not listening only for context. And therefore, we can develop our communication skills, be better at both the broadcast side of it, like in a broadcast like this, or a one-on-one conversation. The idea is that by being a better listener, we can be more appreciative of the other person's position and perhaps draw from it more than what they originally spoke so that we get to know it better. And the next one, this is really, really important, and that is you should expect the best. People in the world do have their own agendas. They do have their own purposes. And honestly, they want to have you hear them. They want to know that the information they're sharing is being accepted, whether or not you agree. They just want to know that they're being heard. And this is critically important because in the reality of it is that, yes, we expect the best from everyone and not all of them are going to succeed. There are going to be people that are going to disappoint us as well. And so we have to accept the best, but tolerate the rest. When something doesn't go your way or doesn't feel right, you just have to shrug and say, yep, that is, and I hate this phrase myself, but I use it sometimes. That is what it is. That is what they've stated. That is their opinion. And just tolerate it. It's okay because they have a right to it as well. Again, attitude determines altitude. If you're holding on to a position that is tenuous at best, it is far better to accept that your position is assailable and then deal with the ramifications of it. But we can stay happy when we develop the discipline to begin the process, to act to make ourselves happy, to act on things so that they don't become problems and challenges and difficulties. But we also set reasonable goals for ourselves, decide and maintain a healthy perspective on anything that comes up in our lives, accept and use the help when we need it, accept our responsibility for our part, what it is we did. And I think I may have been a little bit light on this subject a moment ago. The idea is that when we accept responsibility for our part in life, we are I'm going to use my definition, and many of my friends, if they've watched this far, have been waiting for this because it's something that came up in a game the other day. My definition of responsibility is when you take credit for the things you've done and the blame for the things that you did that were wrong. So credit for when you do things right and blame for when you do things wrong. That's the definition of responsibility. And when we can accept that, then we can move on from our challenges and our mistakes and improve our lives. When we develop the benefit of the doubt skills, therefore, we are assuming in others the same thing, that they are going to accept their responsibility. And we also develop our communication skills by hearing when that has occurred and responding appropriately, with the idea that we have expectation for the best and we tolerate the rest. Alrighty, so now we're going to move on to the next one.